Away from that, the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition has expressed concern that political parties have not shown sufficient commitment to fighting corruption in their manifestos. The coalition argues that corruption has not been a central theme in the election discourse leading up to the December 7 polls. Channel One News' Philip Nilate reports.
According to the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition, the fight against corruption has not been won in the country, which is threatening Ghana's development. In an effort to ensure that political parties commit to this cause, the coalition brought together civil society organizations and members of various political parties to deliberate on strategies to combat this issue. Speaking at the event themed Elections and Anti-Corruption, What is the Next Government Agenda?, the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition Executive Secretary, Beauty Emefa Nate, highlighted that the lack of commitment from political parties to address corruption fails to provide a clear picture on how elections and anti-corruption efforts can be integrated.
Corruption and the fight against it does not show explicitly in the election conversations as Ghana nears another election on 7 December 2024. This is evidence in two ways. Neither have an abundance of anti-corruption commitments, nor are commitments in prominence. The major political parties have a total of 32 anti-corruption commitments scattered in their manifestos. Ladies and gentlemen, out of the 32 commitments, only 4 are about enforcing or deploying existing anti-corruption legislation. This, therefore, makes it difficult for us to see how elections and anti-corruption issues are being integrated.
Members of civil society organizations such as AB and David Africa, Ghana Integrity Initiative, Imani Africa, and the West Africa Civil Society Institute highlighted the main causes of corruption in the country.
Bribery. We have issues around unexplained wealth, which we are grappling with. We see people who are cited, but then we are not able to investigate them because we do not have jurisdiction to do so under our current law. So that's another big gap which we need to work on. And as Mr. Fusidote has said, it's not about the law, it's about the quality of the law and the law being able to bite.
So we lack a fair bit of principles, and I think it's important that we take the corruption fight beyond just the politicians and the manifestos into the private sector. Because in the private sector, there's a fair amount of corruption as well. If I'm in a private sector company and I'm giving a deal to somebody because the person is giving me some kickback, it is not different from the one in public sector. The only difference is that the public sector person is using my taxes to do that. And I think we need to pay a lot of attention to this because it is part of the significant reasons why the economy is what it is.
So I think we should be careful about how we build our local governance system, because it's very important. The last point I want to make about corruption, I'll be very brief. Look, Ben, we did this work together. We analyzed over 1,000 procurements, contracts that we've seen so far. Only 5% could pass muster per the laws that we have put together. But in the very year we're going to the IMF, or the year we got to go to the IMF, there's a time when 85% of all procurement issues go to the Give Me system.
Some political parties outlined their plans to combat corruption.
In all this, in my 2024 manifesto, in fighting corruption, let's first look at one thing first: the mindset. The mindset is the most important tool that will help fight corruption in this country. Our attitude. What kind of attitude do we have? You can put all the laws of corruption in this country. Why we do not have a change of mindset and attitude, we will lose it all.
And so before we start thinking about political parties, let's start asking ourselves questions as Ghanaians. When you point one finger at somebody, the four are pointing at you. Are you asking people for money? Are you getting annoyed with people because they are not giving you money? Are you structuring things in such a way that a president presidential candidate coming to your constituency, you tell your people that it will cost 10,000, once the thing already costs 2,000. And going forward, we have to look at campaign financing.
There are three things that we envisage to do at the new force to address the issue of corruption in the country. One is to work with CSOs and anti-corruption agencies to strengthen the anti-corruption legal framework, making sure that government data is secure and that government operations are also transparent. That's the second one. And then the third one, we think that corruption cannot be fought only at the government level. So we also are looking at working with the local communities.
The conversation about the fight against corruption in this country continues. But for now, the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition and other civil society organizations want political parties to prioritize the battle against this canker in their manifestos. Reporting for Channel One News, my name is Philip Ni Latte.